All right, everyone. Link in the description, archived, of course. We start off today talking about Pakistan and Afghanistan, actually. Pakistan has been hit with a series of attacks that appear to have been coordinated by the Taliban. They're beginning to get pissed about it. Their defense ministry came out and said, well, we would only need a fraction of our troops in order to overwhelm you, so you might want to cut that out. We don't need to use nuclear weapons, although they do have, at the very least, early age atomic weapons, which gives them a considerable advantage, and they actually have a land border with Afghanistan. If any country was going to actually be able to underwhelm the Taliban and hold the country, Pakistan would probably be one of the key countries that could actually do that. Is this, though, a good idea? The Taliban is striking them mainly, it seems, with drones. Where did they get them from? Did they A, buy them from the Iranians, or B, recover them when Biden fucked up the country in the first place? Unfortunately, a lot of these drones are probably US made. So this becomes a problem. Pakistan is an ally of the United States. While I do not believe in sending a bunch of money over to Pakistan, and it's generally a bad idea, and while the Taliban is, technically speaking at least now, the legitimate government of Afghanistan, because there's nothing you can fucking do about it, I don't believe that it would be a good idea for these two countries to go to war. Pakistan gets bogged down. Afghanistan gets re-destabilized for like the fifth fucking time this century. And, then things spiral from there. In fact, it could cause an atomic disaster. Because if Pakistan begins to lose, they might be crazy enough to actually drop an A-bomb on Kabul or something like that. This is actually a possibility. So I think that it's probably a bad idea. The United States has tried in vain to engage itself within the region. Now, I'm speaking, of course, from the American perspective. I'm not a Pakistani. I'm not from Afghanistan. I'm from the United States. Every time it's been a shit show. It's been a goddamn disaster. Why the hell are we bothering to do so? I'm not even sure at this point. I think that this is a leave it alone scenario. There are several of them engaged in right now, actually. Israel v. Palestine. Leave it alone. We don't need to send anyone any money or any weapons or anything like that. People can handle it themselves. It's called diplomacy. It works. When it breaks down, that's when you get wars and stuff like that. I am not surprised that the Taliban is firing on targets in Pakistan. It doesn't surprise me in the least. We left behind so much firepower during the shitty Afghan withdrawal that, yeah, the Taliban is pretty well armed at the moment. They can't go to war directly with Pakistan. I don't think that they would have the capability of doing that. But they can cause, problems along the border. They can harass border posts and send in a few brigades or something like that once in a while. This has been happening for some time, though, anyway. This was already happening. Now, though, they've got better equipment. They've got all the stuff that the U.S. left behind because Joe Biden stubbornly decided to punt the date of the withdrawal deal, which humiliated all of the tribal warlords that had signed on to it, causing the country to fall to the fucking Taliban. Now, I mean, it was in their hands to begin with anyway, but for a while, for a brief shining moment in time, the United States at extreme personal expense managed to form a relatively stable government, one that Joe Biden also threw under the bus on several different occasions. Shit happens, oh well, DC is good at wasting money, let's put it that way. Now, I don't think that invading Afghanistan is a good idea. If you want to conduct strikes along the border, if something is incoming, there should be something outgoing. Makes sense. It's called territoriality. Um, just a theory that I happen to agree with. Some of you will get the movie reference, by the way. But if Pakistan were to roll into Afghanistan proper, I don't think that you'd be able to do much. Honestly, I would be saying that the Afghans would probably beat you. Because it doesn't matter how many tanks you have. They'll just get more anti-tank systems. It doesn't matter how many jets you have. They'll do what the Yugoslavs did back in the day, what the Serbians did, hide out in the mountains and literally just put fucking cooking systems in caves, and your systems will detect them as a living thing and fire upon them, wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that took $50 to set up. We've seen this before. Guerrilla warfare is a bitch. Standardized militaries have great difficulty dealing with partisans. For people in the United States, by the way, hell, I have a little bit of good news for you. This is why the United States government is never going to be able to underwhelm the population and fully tyrannizing. Too vast an area, too many people, far too many guns, and far too many private hands for them to make it work. There's a reason they are trying to take the latter away, and to soften you up, to make it more easy. Pakistan should not invade Afghanistan, but it looks like that might happen. When your defense minister is saying something like, again, link in the description archived, of course, like he said, well, we can overrun you pretty easy. It won't be a problem, so you might want to knock it off. That could be a prelude to war. By the way, ceasefire talks have decayed in Darfur as well, and now more than several tens of thousands of people are being massacred down there. There's really nothing that the international community can do about it because the UN is completely pointless, the EU is too weak, the US is too uninvolved, and China and Russia are too busy doing other things at the moment to really give a shit. So, it's a wonderful time of glorious darkness. Pakistan is a developing nation. It's sort of like India, and two nations squabble from time to time. There are border skirmishes there too, specifically over a region that's also partially claimed by China. The Kashmiri region happens to be quite rich, so everyone seems to want it. The British once had it. They decided to give it up because they're British. But Pakistan invading Afghanistan, I don't think would be a particularly pragmatic idea. And I don't know, by the way, at the time, at this moment, if the United States would be able to give any meaningful support. I don't even know who it would support. Keep in mind, back in the 1970s, for a brief time, the United States government backed fucking Pol Pot, recognizing him as a legitimate leader of Cambodia simply because of the Vietnam issue. This was a mistake, by the way. The Vietnamese quite clearly were never even close to as butcherous as Pol Pot was. He killed 40% of his own population. So I don't know whether the United States would back Pakistan, which we send money and weapons to, or the Taliban in order to try to reciprocate and say, well, we want things to be stable there. We're going to try to warn the Pakistanis off. It's going to be a real interesting situation, I have no doubt. That's about all. Peace out.